Namaste. Welcome. So is there really a subtle body? All right. An entity or a dimension aside from the physical? Right. When I say subtle body, I mean the electrical vibrations we are all made of. All right. And predominantly, these electrical vibrations or energetic vibrations are dormant. They are actually hidden, trapped inside the body. I will explain that later on, the process later on. And they are not sensitive. All right. When I say subtle body, I don't mean the paranormal. I do not mean seeing spirits or ghosts or superpowers, occult, mysticism, stuff like that. No. There is actually a scientific process of developing this, I would say, aspect of our being. All right. And it involves the body actually. So the process is really a system made up of stages, yeah, which could be developed over time through practicing these elements and should be tackled in order, like stage 1, stage 2, so on and so forth. Okay. So the heart of the discussion is this. Although it exists, the process of developing it is actually very difficult. It's no ordinary tasks. The challenge is because there are many things readily available around us, especially in the modern times, that talk about this subtle body, and there are many methods in actually feeling them. The problem is, because our nature as human beings, we always want to rush. Right? We want instant gratification. Because there are so many things written and said about this subtle energy which are very enticing. We get swayed. Oh, let me try that transcendental meditation. Or let me try hypnotism. Let me try this and that and that. All right. And then you come out of the session, ooh, I feel it. I experience a trance. Yes, it's very possible. You could be induced to experience the subtle body. But the question is, can you walk me through it? Can you guide me through it? Can you talk me through it from stage 1 to the last, all the way to the draining, and how to come back and out of the experience safely and sanely? Because I tell you, yeah, we are all energetic beings, and we could be induced to experience the subtleness of the energy. But the problem is, did we ever learn how to cultivate it from the foundation, which is the safest path and the healthiest path to develop? So we know how to get in, manage, and get out of the experience, and then go back again many times over, safely and sanely. Because we are talking electricity here, and when we do not know how to manage that electrical current we allow to flow inside the body, and mind you, this electricity is above and way higher than what the body can normally sustain, we might hurt our inner body, our vital organs, or even damage our nervous system, which could be problematic in the future. So yes, it is very true, but it's not magical, it's not paranormal, it's not superstition, it's not occult, it's not mysticism. Yeah? It's a scientific process that we could follow over a long period of practice, so we follow it step by step. Right. So why am I all sharing this with you? Because the topic of our discussion or our lesson later on will be a representation of the inherent pattern of how the energy flows inside our body. All right. So, to be more specific is, and to be clear that it's really actually that something starts inside the body, and it has some scientific, I would say, basis. The primal or energy or the primal force, right? Some books call it the divine energy, some books call it the Holy Spirit in the Christian tradition, the Sakina, the goddess, the primal force. In yoga we call that subtle energy, but very potent and powerful the moment it flows out, the Kundalini. Alright, Kundalini energy. So it's a primal energy, and every one of us possesses that energy, but it is dormant, generally in a dormant state, although it manifests randomly in times of need. For example, we're suddenly attacked with stressors, that energy just suddenly flows out to organically protect that inside. And then suddenly you'll just realize, what just happened? What did I do? And then you can't remember. Because something inside just happened, and then that energy took over for us to be protected, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Right? So that energy is actually hidden down the triangular bones of our hips, our sacrum. That's why it's called sacrum, because the energy is a sacred force. So the sacrum holds the secret for unleashing and unlocking that energy. So it is connected to the hips. As simple as that, as scientific as that, as anatomical as that. All right. Now, so the sacrum holds like 3 points, actually the whole of our body. The right channel, which is the Pingala, the left channel, which is the Ida, and right through the central is the Sushumna, or the central canal. All right. So those 3 ones are the 3 most important channels of energy, or we call them nadis. All right. But we have like about 72,000 nadis. But amongst those many thousand, the 3 are the most important: right channel, left channel, and central canal. Because when the energy flows out of the hips, the energy will flow abundantly through those 3 channels of energy. Why am I sharing you all of this? Because the lesson will be related to that later on. But let me explain the scientific fundamentals and principles behind the lesson, so we appreciate it. So not just do it, yet we know the fundamentals and the principles and the concept behind the action or the method. All right. Going back. All right. So when that primal energy flows out, of course, this will just not happen overnight. So this will require many years of practice of many elements of physical movement, breath regulation, and then the development of your energy locks that we hold along the line of the spine. And we have 3 primary locks: the Mula Bandha, Uddiyana Bandha, and the Jalandhara Bandha. So those locks now, together with the development and then making the pelvis and the hips sensitive, the energy locks now, together with the breath, because the breath will play an important role, even in our lesson later on, will draw the energy out of those fused and tight joints of our hips to rise up. Literally, the energy rises up. All right. And when it rises up, it will pass through the right channel, left channel, and the central canal. And they would have distinct manifestations and sensations as they happen inside the body. All right. So how do we experience now that sensation? How do we allow the subtle energy to rule the inner body? All right. Because the moment that subtle energy flows out, it doesn't become subtle anymore. It becomes so potent and powerful that actually takes over the normal and autonomic functions of our nervous system. which will ripple down. It affects the way we move, the way we breathe, and even the way we feel, think, and generally the way we relate to the community as a whole. All right. And this is the spirituality of the proposition. All right. Now, all right, the energy, the Kundalini energy, since it's trapped down the fused bones of the right channel and the left channel, literally, when we've gained sensitivity around those regions, that we're actually, could, move those really tight joints using the inner musculature of the pelvis together with the rest of the sub-physical skill, not really sub-physical, they're still physical, it's just that you are learning now how to access the deep spots of your spine, the muscles, the joints, and just allow the breath to work inside. So we could actually feel those really fused and tight spots and cracks. We hold down the sacrum, actually. And then inside the cracks is the Kundalini energy. Inside them lie the Kundalini energy. And through drawing that energy using the breath and the locks, we will allow the energy to flow out. All right. This is very important because the energy, as it flows out when you meditate, I feel it when I meditate, I'm just translating the experience into words. And later on, I will teach you a technique where we could seal the energy and allow the energy to create a balance of flow inside the body. All right. As the energy flows out of the right and the left channel, they manifest as electrical sensations. All right. And these electrical sensations could be strongly felt, in the thumbs of our hands, right channel, left channel, and the big toes of our feet, right channel, left channel. All right. So although the energy comes from the inner edges of the hips, but as it flows out, actually the whole of our body will be covered with electricity, all right? And the electricity would actually be felt predominantly making its way out of the big toe, like really pinching needle there, like something is drilling a hole inside your big toe, good? And then right up the upper body, you could feel it right up the thumb of the hand, and then all the way up here until the energy fills the right and the left hemispheres of the brain with electrical current. So it's really like it's flowing from the toes, circles around the legs and around the hips, and then around the spine to the side and to the back, to the sides of the neck, and all the way to the right and left hemispheres of the brain. All right. So as the energy rises to the side of the trunk, yes, the right and the left channel, all right, the energy flows there, will end here. All right. That's the side, or what happens when it rises to the sides of the body. Now, there is another channel there that opens together with the right and the left side. And that is the central canal, the Sushumna. All right. So, really, the inner dynamics of the core, the bandhas, that's what I mean, will, when it flows out, you will be able now to really harness the very tiny and fine component of the energy, all right? And you will actually be able to allow the sensation to rise up through the central canal. So as the energy rises, the subtle energy rises, it actually rises in three spots of the body, through the three spots, right channel, left channel, and the central canal. All right. The sensations you will be feeling, right channel and left channel, will be the same. Yeah, like really electrical pulsation and really like strong electrical current. But the sensation as it passes through the central canal is different. All right. As it passes through the central canal, it's cold, thin, and soothing. And it actually feels like a line, yeah, rising through the spine, to the backs of the throat, to the backs of the neck, until it stimulates the tip of the neck, which the pineal gland is resting. And then when it happens, yeah, it will cause sudden spike of electrical vibrations to feel the nervous system, and together with the electricity coming from the right and the left channel, everything will feel the head, literally electricity inside, and they will drain out of the system through, you know, this part of the head, you know, a little bit higher than the forehead, and it drains out. Yeah, and it will produce many other manifestations, but I will not be talking about them because they cross the line of trance. Yeah, and they're not necessary for this lesson actually. All right. So that's the pattern of the energy. Why am I sharing all of this with you? Yeah, because the lesson, there are actions in yoga. We call them mudras or gestures, which actually mimics or actually represents this pattern of energy as it flows inside the system. Right? And one of the mudras is what we call the Mahamudra. All right? Mahamudra, it means the royal seal, all right? The great seal. Yeah. So from the word itself, we are sealing that energy. We can confine the energy so we could hold it longer inside our system, while at the same time adding the inspiring, the inhalation and the kumbhaka to make the force of our primal energy and the energy coming from the outside, and together they produce health and wellness benefit for our body. All right. So I have to be very clear with that. Yeah. Yeah, so if you come to think of it, it's really very scientific, yeah? So there's nothing magical about it. Although, yeah, the process involved will be difficult. All right, now, this mudra, all right, I have to be very clear, will not awaken your Kundalini. All right, so this is just a representation of how the energy flows, because the energy has a pattern. All right, so let's go straight to the technique of the mudra, yeah, or the gesture, or the position, yeah, or the asana, you may want to call it. So the heel of your left foot, because later on when you meditate, when I go to deep energetic absorption, the heel could actually feel, yeah, that burning sensation. So the heel of the right, or the left foot will be pressed firmly down the space between your anus and your genitals. Yeah, this hollow space, that one. All right, so you're gonna press that heel up against the tender space. Yeah, it actually feels like there's a bony part there. Yeah, but somehow it's gritty. Yeah, between the anus and the genitals. All right, good. So looking at this alone, it will definitely tell you that this is an advanced position, because it will require flexibility of the ankle, flexibility of the knee, and really not really flexibility, but strength of your core, because the low back, yeah, will not move as much because you're gripping that part of you that makes the lower back mobile, right? Because the heel actually makes a stop, so the low back will not be able to move. So this is really an advanced position, and it will require flexibility of your extended leg as well, because you want that leg fully straight. All right. So if you cannot perform this position, it only means one thing: you can't do it. So work backwards, or work progressively. Sort out the underlying components of the mudra. Again, it's our inherent nature to be rushing things. No. So yoga is not about rushing who finishes first and what, because we need to sort out the fundamentals, the underlying components, so we could understand the process from a real life perspective and not merely experience it. Alright? So we know how to get in and out of the position safely and safely. Alright. Now going back to the technique. Alright. So the heel there somehow stimulates the mouth of the Sushumna, the central canal. But you're not opening the Sushumna. Let me be very clear on that. Alright, somehow you stimulate it. Alright. Now, the legs here, or the thighs here, would have to be rolled inward. Yeah? Like you want to roll the front thigh bone inward. And even this knee, even this thigh would have to be rolled inward as well. Like you are sliding the inner edges of your thighs inward, and that will keep the lower spine and the rest of the lower region of the spine neutral. Yes. Because, yeah, when you extend forward, you don't want to be hunching the back, alright? So you want that space free behind you without you bouncing it open as well. Alright, so I will discuss the rest of the element as we go along. Alright. Since we know that the energy, the Kundalini energy, starts from there, thus we stimulate that part using the heel. Alright. Now, the right channel is the Pingala. And we know now that the pattern of the energy is predominantly felt here, and with the hand and the thumb, we will seal the energy. We will seal those points. Alright. Now, how do we seal the points? Alright. We're going to reach forward and then really press our thumbs up against the tip of our big toe. With the thumb and your index finger, like this. Now, like you want to grab your index fingers under and the thumbs on top. Alright, so this is the structural adjustment or movement of the mudra. Heel pressing firmly, and we close the seal. Alright. If you want to further investigate, you know that you're doing the heel properly there. When you want to fold forward, somehow there's a stop which prevents you from folding forward. It's very important because you don't want your foot relaxed in an attempt to reach forward. You know what I mean now? Alright. So the heel would have to be pressed firmly down the perineum. So when we fold forward, if you cannot reach, that means you're not ready. And you don't force it, like you hunch it. And then you lose the grip of your heel down the perineum. Very important. Alright. For example, you're able to do it. So this requires flexibility as well and the mobility of the upper back. Alright, so let me lift my shirt so you can see. Alright, now, this is only a part of it. What's more important now is the utilization of the bandhas as we breathe through the process. Alright, so this is a breath regulation and physical movement as well. So it's a combination of many things surrounding the practice that you've worked over a period of time. So it's an advanced position, even that one, yeah? But again, this will not awaken the Kundalini. This is just a manifestation or a representation of how the energy and the pattern of the energy happens inside. Alright. So when we inhale, we are lifting our spine to the vertical. Again, vertical. You don't want to be bouncing it forward, neither hunch it back. With the heel gripping your perineum there, and with the leg extended, this will be very difficult to perform. Because if you're lacking the flexibility, you might end up like that, or you might end up like this. No. Because you want your spine to be rising up to the vertical when you're about to enter the position. Because that one is important. The Mula Bandha, the root lock, the Uddiyana Bandha here, and the throat lock would somehow draw your initial breath up, yeah, to create that long line of pathways or energy or channels, as later on you will be sending the energy to rise up even more. All right, so inhale. All right, now after inhalation is an exhalation, definitely. Now, when we exhale, the tendency the spine will close. Right. In the Mahamudra, you don't do that. Actually, you are doing some minor adjustment in the spine so it remains open, yeah, as you reach forward. All right, so let's do that. I will be performing the first two stages, and then I will carry on from there. Inhale it. Inhale. Now, as you exhale, as you reach, open the pathways. And then when I say pathways, open the three locks. Open first the mula by letting go of the lower back a bit. Open the spot of your thoracic region by allowing the heart and the chest to open. And then just slightly open the neck up. So in here, the locks are open because later on you're gonna confine the energy using the locks. So exhale. All right. Now, as you inhale now, instead of bouncing up like that, you're gonna keep the grip tight or firm. But exhale. This is the second stage. Now inhale. Draw in and draw up. See the action now? Good. Good. And then this is inhalation. Good. So as opposed to inhalation, inhale. That will be the action. So the inhalation now, you're going to use the drawing up action of your breath, and of course the utilization of the bandhas inside, yeah, to harness and flow the energy to gather to the center, and together with the rest of the upper locks, the Uddiyana Bandha and the Jalandhara Bandha, you'll be able to draw the sensation up to pass through the backs of the body, all the way to the backs of your spine, up to the tip of the neck, the tip of the spine, and hold a kumbhaka. Alright. So this is very complex. Aside from the physical, you sort out the breath, and the last is, not actually the last, while you're holding it, while you're retaining it, you hold a kumbhaka. Kumbhaka is a breath retention. It's a, if you follow this series of tutorial about energy channeling, I've mentioned that when we confine the breath inside, after inspiring, you confine it inside, the nadis would absorb the prana out of the breath. Literally, it detaches the prana out of the gaseous air, and then nadis are as sponge. Actually, the nadis are the sponge inside our body. They will absorb the energy. And while you're holding the kumbhaka, the energy is trapped inside. And together with the rest of the bandhas working, right, as you hold the kumbhaka, and as the bandhas keep lifting the energy up, to rise up, because the energy has a rising behavior. Good. And then you hold it, you will actually feel something is moving inside the body. Alright, literally, like pockets of bubbles, or yes, like bubbles are rising up. Yeah, really sensation inside, like something is creeping through those inner pathways. You hold inside the spine, specifically down the center. Yeah, the space between the big ribs, but really hidden inside. Yeah. As you hold the kumbhaka, right, and then you can feel actually the backs of the body open wider. As you feel the energy rises up, good. You can feel the energy slide up to the sides of the trunk and through the collarbones, right up here. But of course, since you know there's a pattern that the energy is also passing through the tips of the thumb and the big toe, the index finger, And as you hold the kumbhaka, somehow you allow the energy to move through circular motion. Inhale, retain. But when the pressure builds up, because the gaseous air has lost its healing property, exhale. Open the pathway. Good. Next round, inhale, back up a bit. Blow in and out. Hold the kumbhaka. Just as long as you can sustain it. And then while you're holding it, you may be gazing down the tip or between the eyebrows or the tip of the nose. When the pressure builds up, exhale, open the pathways. Exhale, really. Now breathing in as the air enters the body. Use the locks to draw your own energy to rise up. And those two types of energies, the grace from above and your own energy, and they blend here. You hold. And the most absolute form is allowed to rise up, to nourish and energize the nervous system inside as you hold the kumbhaka. And when the pressure builds up, exhale, but don't lose the mudra, and inhale. Like you want to back up with the inhalation, but keep the space inside open and free. So if you notice, the back forms like a dome shape. It's not overextended, neither rounded. So the spine maintains a neutral alignment and keep the pathways or the locks working in same levels of intensity. Good. So where does the energy passes through now as you hold the locks? Definitely, you are allowing the energy to pass through the inherent pattern, right? Left channel, right channel, left side of the brain, right side of the brain, and through the center by piercing through the 7 chakras of the spine all the way to the pineal gland of your spine or the brain inside. All right, so you're gonna do that at this side because the energy also flows down the left side of our energetic system. So the right heel presses deep down the perineum of your body. All right, roll both legs inward, free the tailbone a bit until you feel the sitting bones down. Inhale, exhale, open a bit. You're going to feel that stretch gritty. Inhale, and hold the kumbhaka. When the pressure builds up, exhale, loosen a bit. Inhale. Exhale, and then you repeat the process. All right, externally it looks simple, but in reality this is an advanced position because the backing off of the breath actually restricts the rest of your upper back. All right, so somehow, and then the gripping of the heel down will require flexibility of the lower spine. Right, because you don't want that lower back to move as much because you are gripping the perineum with the heel there. Right, and this of course will require flexibility of this side. And all of your body actually is involved with this method. Yeah, and then of course the breath. All right. And actually it feels quite challenging, especially down the backs of the body and the hips, because the hips enjoy less mobility and you don't want to be bouncing down and forward. So it's very specific. Now just using the locks inside now to harness in and then to draw up, and then you're holding the kumbhaka. You can feel the breath wide in the back, and as you hold it you can feel the absolute form or the refined form pierce through the spine. Good. And up here, and then with the right channel and the left channel lengthening as well. Yeah, and everything goes up here. Alright. Now, let me just be very clear that the Mahamudra itself will not awaken the primal energy. I mean the Kundalini energy. It's not a way for us to awaken the Kundalini energy. Although the book says the Kundalini energy is awakened when the heel is pressing down the perineum. All right, that's the description. All right, it is provided actually that your Kundalini energy is already open. That's what it means when the book says the Kundalini energy is awakened when you press the heel up against the perineum and you throw it up. All right, but when the position itself, no, it will not, because awakening the Kundalini will require, although this is part of the process towards the latter stages, but the process involved in developing it is actually different. It's actually different, and they are much more challenging, much more challenging, and have to be tackled in order. All right, last is, one of the precept or reason why we do the mudra, this one, naturally while we're lifting our energy up, is because the nature of the Kundalini energy is very earthy. It serves the function of sexual functions, reproduction, something which is earthy, something that connects to the lower body and everything there. And then when we are lifting that energy up to nourish and energize a nervous system, somehow it serves a higher purpose on top of what it is inherently capable of. So somehow it becomes a refinement of our awareness from the base to the heart to the head to the nervous system. So just by understanding that, we know now that the process is really very scientific. Although because the journey is very spiritual, you will develop other aspects of the practice which connects more, not just the body, but also you're going to understand many things surrounding our existence. Some of them may cross the line of spirituality and religion, but you will understand all of this from the energetic perspective or point of view, and not the magical stories or the mysteries behind it. Yeah. So yes, so it's lifting our awareness, from the hips to the spine here and all the way to the nervous system. And that's actually the transformation of the energy from a gross form, which is the body, to the breath, which is a bit more energetic, and all the way to the most absolute form, which is actually the Kundalini, and the process involved in flowing it inside our system. Alright, so yes, that's Mahamudra, and some philosophies, scientific basis about how the process is being tackled, and safety, definitely safety. Alright, so that's our lesson. Alright, let me know if you have questions about this topic. I'm happy to help. Namaste.